Hello dear students, welcome to the another video tutorial of mammalian histology. Okay, so we have started with the alimentary canal and various organs to form the alimentary canal that performing the functions as a system, as a digestive system. Okay, so we have started with the alimentary canal. We have seen the esophagus. Okay, and today we are going to start with the stomach. Okay, that will be you will see as a highlighted point number 7. Okay, the stomach. Okay, the its layers. Okay, and the glands situated among those layers. Okay, so we will stick to the topic for today will be stomach. Okay, so let's get towards the our topic. Okay, so we have seen the esophagus. Okay, the cross section, the layers like mucosa, submucosa. Okay, and adventitia. Okay, we have seen the muscularis mucociliary, lamina propria in the mucosa. Okay, so let's get towards our topic, the stomach. Okay, so this will be the second subtopic among the fourth uh, histological organ study. Okay, so stomach is generally a great dilated portion of the alimentary canal. Okay, and the stomach extends from the esophagus to the duodenum. So its area, as you can see in the picture, the highlighted green color structure in the digestive system showing the actual location of the stomach. Okay, as its extensions in the second picture are shown that it's going to extend from the esophagus. Okay, that the will be the region of the cardiac region. Okay, and up to the pyloric region, that will be the superior portion of the duodenum, where it's going to connect with the duodenum, and then that duodenum is going to open into the small intestine. Okay, as you can see, if that empty state of the stomach going to remain tubular and forming the rigae into it. Okay, so stomach is useful for the storage of the food and semi-digested food which you going to eat, and that will be passed through the esophagus, the long tube up to the 25 centimeter, and going to open into the fundus region. Okay, and that fundus going to open into the fundus region of the stomach. Okay, there will be the three distinguished regions of the stomach. That will be, first will be the cardiac region, as you can see in the picture, that esophagus is going to open in between fundus and cardiac region. Okay, so the cardiac region is a narrow region around the opening of the esophagus. Okay, and fundic region, that will be the second region. Okay, which dome shaped part of the carpus part. Okay, that will be the highlighted as the second part. Okay, as you can see, the cardiac part means it going to in closer contact with the heart, or the area that going to occupy by heart, that's why it's named as the cardiac region. The fundus region, the dome shaped region, that's why it's known as the fundus region or the fundic region. Okay, and then the third part will be the pyloric region, that will be the distal narrow one third of the stomach towards the duodenum. Okay, and that distal 1/3 part, that is pyloric part, going to open into the superior portion of the duodenum, and that superior portion, as I said earlier, it going to open into the small intestine. So the histology of the fundus and the cardiac and the corpus body of the stomach are identical. Okay, so as you can see, the fundus, cardiac and pyloric regions are going to show you the same portion or the same length, same width almost. Okay, but you will feel the differences between the that pyloric and the esophageal region. Okay, that pyloric region is going to differ generally, or the great difference you will feel in comparison in between fundus, cardiac, pyloric with the uh, uh, that pyloric region. Okay, so this pyloric region going to open with a tube that will be the superior portion of duodenum. Okay, and it has some differences histologically. Okay, so we will see those differences in upcoming slides. Okay, so as you can see, the stomach wall has all four coats. Okay, the all four coats, remember the sequence: mucosa, submucosa, muscularis mucosa and serosa. Okay, so this will be the sequence for the stomach purposes. Okay, so the stomach will be the gastric pits. It has the gastric pits which has gastric glands that secretes the acids or the digestive juices. Okay, and that going to help uh, for the partially digestion of the food. Okay, and that going to secrete some acid, like HCl is secreted by one particular type of the cell, we will see it, and that HCl uh, going to take the responsibility to do not pass any living organisms or for the in from the stomach to the small intestine, so that they will stuck over there and they will generally um, take such a huge reflexes about the, and our health will be compromised with the, if any microorganism going to enter into the small intestine. So that's why the HCl going to uh, take responsibility and take charge over in stomach. Okay, so that the acidic environment of the stomach is maintained. Okay, so that if the plasma membrane of the other um, substances going to dissolve in that. Okay, so the other microorganisms going to die over the acidic environment. Okay, so the mucosa going to form folds called as the rugae. Rugae means that folds on one upon another. Okay, so at empty, if you are having the empty stomach, that rugae going to fold, that means your stomach is going to fold, and when you are going to eat something, at that time, to increase the surface area, to increase the storage capacity, that rugae going to open and going to wide in length. Okay, and your stomach will be enlarged by that rugae. Okay, and that wrinkles and flatten as a stomach gut folds. Okay, if that the first part or the first uh, layer will be the mucosa layer. Let's highlighted points of the mucosa are, okay, this is the innermost layer of the stomach. Okay, and the main job of the mucosa is to secrete the mucus and protects the stomach from the own acids. Okay, that acids secreted for the other animals, to protect from the other animals. It will be the defense mechanism of the stomach. But that stomach, is there a chance little bit to get to digest its own lining of the stomach? So to protect that from the that own secreted HCl or the acids, that stomach is going to secrete the another substance to protect his layers. That will be the mucosa layer is secreting the mucus for the protection from its own secreted acids. Okay, so in this layer, small pores known as the gastric pits that are going to responsible for creating the acid, and that small pores the present in the mucosa portion, and that mucosa going to protect the stomach from these acids which are secreted by these some cells of the pits, going to for the protection purpose from the other animals. Okay, then the second layer will be the submucosa. Okay, and in this mucosa layer there are some gastric pits, and that pits going to have the various n number of the cells. Okay, and there are some layers of the mucosa is known as the lamina propria. Okay, and that lamina propria is composed of a delicate interweaving connective tissue and the fibers that going to pulse the connective tissue cells and occasional smooth cell fibers. Okay, and that occasional smooth cell fibers are going to uh, execute some part of the stomach. Okay, and some of the smooth muscle fibers of the layers going to enter in the lamina propria between the glands. Okay, so we will see what are the type of the glands of the stomach are. Okay, there are generally the gastric or fundic glands will be there, pyloric glands and the cardiac glands. So these three type of the glands of the stomach are present, uh, and the general idea about the gastric and fundic glands will be distributed through the greater part of the gastric mucosa. Okay, so the pyloric glands are present in the region that immediately above the pylorus, um, and going to below that the cardiac glands. Okay, that are the found in the cardiac regions of the stomach. Okay, that gastric gland produces essential digestive elements of the gastric juices. Okay, while the pyloric and cardiac glands secrete mucus for the protection from the its own secreted acids. Okay, so as you can see, the uh, two layers, that are the lamina propria of the mucosa and muscularis mucosae of the mucosa. Okay, so the lamina propria going to comprises with the connective tissue fibers. Okay, and that are going to connect these intramuscular linings, or these linings in between each other. Okay, so as you can see, the muscularis mucosae will be the second layer of the mucosa. Okay, and the below the lamina propria, the muscular mucosa is situated. Okay, and it present in the consist of the thin layer of the smooth muscle fibers, and going to arrange with the circular and outer longitudinal fibers. Okay, and that going to form the bottom of the gastric pits. Okay, and that bottom of the gastric pits going to muscularis mucosae. Okay, so these muscularis mucosae in between the neighboring glands of the lamina propria forms very thin strand. Okay, we will see the that will be the second layer will be the submucosa. Okay, and this surrounds the mucosa is going to made up with the blood vessels. Okay, and that nerves and the connective tissues, it has the connecting tissues and nervous tissues, as well as the blood vessels and the nerves for the control and coordination, the signal transmission. Okay, so the connective tissues going to support with the mucosa and connect it to the muscularis. Okay, and it controls the secretions and the smooth muscle contractions that going to food, okay, through the stomach. Okay, so it controls the secretion and the smooth muscle contractions. So as you can see in this picture, the four layers: mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa and serosa. We will see muscularis externa and serosa in the next slide. Until now, let's get focused on it. Okay, as you can see, the surface of the epithelium of the gastric pits, okay, in the picture. Okay, and that surface of the epithelium linings on the gastric pits, okay, it having the common duct for the secretions of the acids or the digestive juices by means of the cells are present into the pit. Okay, as you can see, the two layers, as I said, the lamina propria and muscularis mucosae. Okay, and that lamina propria and muscularis mucosae layer, that muscularis mucosae layers comprises of the connective tissue as well as the muscle fibers. Okay, and that lamina propria region having the entire gut rug. Okay, and that entire gut regions, that gut cells, that gut pit regions having the cells, that cells having the ability of the secretions. Okay, so as we focus on the lamina propria region, you can see the um, zoom out region into your right side. Okay, that going to see, you can see the parietal cells, okay, the gastric pits. Okay, so in the gastric pits you can see the parietal cells. Okay, you can see the other gastric glands like the chief cells and the enteroendocrine cells. Okay, that enteroendocrine cells and the chief cells that going to perform the various secretions, that various acidic secretions are secreted by means of these cells. Okay, as you can see the chief cells. Okay, the chief cells are going to zymogenic cells. Okay, and parietal cells are the oxytic cells, the mucous neck cells, and the argentaphine or the enterochromaphine, or also known as the enteroendocrine cells. Okay, so the chief cells, the function of the chief cells are, these are the numerous cells of the gastric glands. Okay, so they are large, as you can see, the larger portions. Okay, they are squarish or the somewhat like a cuboidal or circular portions. Okay, the pyramidal shaped cells with the basal nuclei. The nuclei is situated at the base. Okay, so the cytoplasm that contains the zymogen. Okay, and that zymogen granules, as you can see the granules present in them. Okay, the chief cells. Okay, as you can see the chief cells below the parietal cells. Okay, that chief cell linings, the that granule like structures are the zymogen granules in that. Okay, and those zymogen granules going to uh, of the pepsinogen secretions. Okay, they are going to the endoplasmic reticulum going to secrete the mitochondria and the Golgi apparatus, that are nothing but the uh, cell appendages. Okay, and the pepsinogen, after release of the converted into the zymin pepsin. Okay, that going to secrete the pepsin secretions. Pepsin is important in the digestion, and pepsin is going to uh, going to digest your protein. Okay, all the meat and all the non-vegetarian people eating the meat, okay, the chicken, are digested by means of the pepsin. Okay, so the pepsin is secreted by means of the chief cells. Okay, the zymogen present in the zymogen granules going to secrete the pepsin. Okay, so these cells are also responsible for the forming the glandular mucoprotein, okay, and which increases the absorption of the vitamin B12. Okay, so these cells are also going to secrete the mucoproteins, which absorbs the which increases the percentage of the absorptions of the vitamin B12. Okay, the vitamin B12 deficiency is ultimately going to leads and ultimately going to point towards your chief cells functions, that your chief cells or the zymogen granules are not going to performing well. That's why your vitamin B deficiency in your body. Okay, so those patients having the vitamin B12 deficiency, they should uh, get touch in their physicians. Okay, so by the same intestine, the apical portions of the cell lies towards the lumen of the gland. Okay, the apical portions lies towards the cell of the lumen, and that going to secrete the pepsinogen or pepsin or these enzyme pepsin as well as the glandular mucoprotein into the common duct, what is present for the secretions. Okay, and then will be the parietal cells. Okay, as the top of the order, as you can see, the parietal cells which are having the um, purple nucleus. Okay, and that parietal cells, so these cells are also called as the HCl cells because they are secreting the HCl. As I said, these are the special type of the cells, parietal cells, going to secrete the HCl to get um, the acidic environment into the stomach. Okay, so because they secrete the hydrochloric acid, okay, of the gastric juice, so these cells are often larger than the chief cells. Okay, so as you can see the oval or the pyloric shape, okay, you can see the oval shape, okay, and with the centrally placed spherical nuclei. Okay, as you can see the purple color nuclei, they are centrally placed. Okay, and the cytoplasm is granular, okay, which is going to stain the intestine in shape of the centrally placed spherical nuclei, and that cytoplasm is granular as well as going to shade these acid dyes. Okay, and it contains the mitochondria, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so these cells are located in the parietal region of the that uh, gland vase. Okay, so as you can see the lumen of these cells going to that gland going to means the intercellular caniculi, okay, that are the channels that going to secrete the acid into the um, intracellular linings. Okay, so as you can see the cardiac cardobic anhydrase, that are the secretions by these parietal cells, are also secreted with the uh, HCl. Okay, so as you can see the mucous neck cells that are going to secrete the mucus for the protection by means of the HCl. Okay, so as you can see the argentafin cells, okay, into the these lumen also. Okay, that argentafin cells going to secrete the uh, the intrachromatophene cells, okay, that are going to secrete the uh, chromium salts, okay, that some salts are secreted by means of these argentaphene cells, okay. The pyloric glands, which have we have seen in this the pyloric region, okay. So the pyloric region, there are present some pyloric glands that are going to secrete the for the protects against the autodigestion of the going to secrete mucuses for the autodigestion of the stomach wall itself, okay. So it prevents the autodigestion, okay. The cardiac glands also secrete some part of the some type of the mucuses, okay, that are helpful in the digestion, okay. So as you can see, the third layer, that is nothing but the uh, muscularis externa, okay, and this muscularis externa is the layer of the stomach which have this one has the most mass and the surrounds of the submucosa, okay. So there are three layers of the muscularis tissue with fibers that run in the three different directions, okay. So this layer is going to protective of the submucosa and mucosa, that as well as the help to move food through the stomach, okay. So the stomach cells go producing some secretions, the as I said earlier, the mucous cells, parietal cells and Chief cells and the uh, G cells, that are the nothing but the these entero enteroendocrine cells, okay. So these cells, the stomach going to digest food through this secretion, and the all the digestion therapies, or the digestion system is the chemical digestion, okay. So that's why the hydrochloric acid and the mucuses are secreted by means of some cells. So there the secretions are going to created in the mucosa, okay. As I said, the two layers, that lamina propria and the muscularis mucosae, these having the this type of the cells, okay. As I had the two columns in front of you, okay. One is presenting the type of the cells and the functions of that cells in the this chart, okay. So the mucous cells, so the exocrine cells going to secrete the mucus in the thick layer, okay, which coats the gastric pits, okay. The bicarbonate ions in the mucus also neutralize the stomach and acids, okay, that are going to does it through the stomach itself, okay, to stop the for eating the stomach itself. That means self digestion is prevented by means of these mucous cells, okay. Then the parietal cells, as I said, the cells going to produce the intrinsic factors and the glycoprotein that binds to the vitamin B12 and absorbs the vitamin, okay. So they also produce the hydrochloric acid, which aids in the breaking down of the food, as well as the protection from the other multicellular organisms or microscopic organism unicellular. So then will be the chief cells, okay. These cells are responsible for producing the gastric lipases, okay, and the gastric lipases and the pepsinogen, okay. Then after this pepsinogen is going to get converted into the pepsine, okay, by applying for the binding with the some particular type of the enzymes, okay, and that going to digest the meat, okay. So that it increases the going to leave the chief cells and turns into the pepsine, okay. So when it comes into the contact with the hydrochloric acid, the gastric lipases uh, digest going to fat in the stomach. So lipase, these are the enzymes going to digest the fat. Okay, the myceles are which are going to digest with the this gastric lipase. Okay, so the G cells, these are the endocrine cells, okay, that are present at the bottom of the gastric pits. Okay, they releases the gastrin. Okay, so this is the one particular type of the enzyme, the gastrin. Okay, a hormone that controls the stimulation of the glands and the muscles of the stomach. Okay, the gastrin is the hormone that going to control the stimulations of the glands and the muscles of the stomach. So it increases the production of the gastric juices. Okay, so as well as the encourage the contractions of the stomach that move fold through it. Okay, and that is all controlled by this gastrin. Okay, which is a hormone. Okay, so then will be the fourth layer will be the serosa. So this will be the outermost layer of the stomach. Okay, so is the thin membrane that going to protect the stomach from the organs. Okay, and the that going to motion of the food inside. Okay, that motion, that uh, other part of the churning and all these things. Okay, the well mixing purposes. So this serosa layer, which is the highly muscular layer, going to contract and relax to get proper mixing of the that all semi-digested food and the gastric juices are secreted by means of these uh, gastric pits. Okay, so it is a thin membrane going to made up with the areola connective tissues as well as the squamous epithelial tissues. Okay, so the diagnostic features of the stomach. Okay, what we have seen get uh, get touch with the get highlighted points from the stomach. Okay, the diagnostic feature or the peculiar characteristics of the stomach. Okay, so the first point will be the rugae are present. Okay, the rugae are the multiple folds on each other. Okay, to get provide the flexibility when a person is going to eat something. Okay, and that stomach will be full and these rugae are get unfolded and the surface area of the stomach is going to increase. Okay, then will be the mucosa contains the single layer of the columnar epithelium. Okay, and that gastric pits are present. We have seen the gastric pits. Okay, and that gastric pits going to present, and that gastric pit is nothing but the common duct for the all secretion, all cells going to secrete some secretions. Okay, and that common duct is nothing but a gastric pit. Okay, so the numerous glands are present in the lamina propria. We have seen the number of glands. Okay, we have seen the argentaphene cells. Okay, we have seen the chief cells. We have seen the uh, uh, cells which are producing the various digestive juices. Okay, so then will be the gastric, pyloric and the cardiac glands occur in the stomach. Okay, so the gastric, pyloric and the cardiac glands going to secrete some mucuses to protect from the acids which are secreted from by the gastric pits. Okay, so then will be the muscularis externa. Coat is composed of the additional oblique muscle layers. Okay, that muscularis externa is the outermost layer. Okay, so the key facts. Okay, let's summarize the all relations of the stomach, all parts, function, layer. What are the type of highlighted points in the stomach? Okay, so the relation of the stomach to the its neighboring organs. Okay, so the anteriorly that stomach starts from the diaphragm, okay, and for the diaphragm, the liver, the left at the left lobe, the liver is present, okay, and the anterior abdominal wall, okay, the anterior abdominal wall also present, okay, and the posteriorly, the posterior at the posterior region of the stomach, the ometal bursa, that is nothing but the lesser sac are present. Then below that the pancreas are present, okay, then the left kidney is present at the posterior surface of the stomach, okay, and then uh, adrenal gland is also present, okay, and then spleen and the splenic artery are also present, okay. Splenic artery means to arteries which are going to provide the blood supply for the spleen, okay, the splenic arteries. At the superior portion of the stomach, okay, esophagus is present, okay, and the diaphragm is present, okay. So the inferiorly or the lateral portions of the stomach are going to get contact with the transverse mesocolon, okay, that colon portion, okay, of the large intestine, okay. So then the part of the stomach, the cardia or the cardiac region, fundus, that is nothing but the fundus region, body of the stomach, okay, pyloric part of the stomach, okay. So these are the parts of the stomach. The mnemonic parts are present in the type of the ruminants that cow finds, or the bull going to are the passionate, okay, the ruminants that having the extra sac known as the mnemonic sac, okay, which is get uh, the function of this particular of the stomach, okay. The mechanical and the chemical digestion is the function of the stomach, okay. Then the absorption, hormone secretion, okay. And then the layers of the stomachs are the mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa, and the serosa. All four layers are present in the stomach, okay. Then the blood supply are provided to the stomach. There are some gastric arteries, gastrometal arteries, okay, short gastric arteries, posterior gastric arteries, then the gastroduodenal arteries, okay. So the innervations, that you can see the vagus nerves or the cranial 10th nerve, okay, in the that parasympathetic nerve or the sympathetic nerves are present into the celiac plexus, that going to provide the signaling purposes or the sensation purposes, okay. So the innervations that are the parasympathetic or the sympathetic nerves are present, and with that going to connect with the brain by means of cranial nerve 10th and the T5 and the T12 nerves, okay. So then the lymphatic cells, that are the gastric, gastrointestinal, and the pyloric lymph nodes are present, okay. Then the clinical point, that means the uh, disabilities or the diseases are of the stomach, that nothing but the hiatal hernia. Have you heard about the hernia? That hiatal hernia is the disease of the stomach, okay. So we will stop here and we will meet in the next session, okay, for the next organ. Thank you. Stomach is over here. Thank you.